Hi boys and girls, happy remote learning day. I hope you all had a wonderful day learning from home. I'm here to share with you a February Valentine's Day books and cooks. I was thinking about this all day. I think it's a perfect day to share it with you since Valentine's Day is this Sunday, February 14th. Before I left school, I asked Mrs. Alves if she had a really cute Valentine story that I could read to everyone at Anna Reynolds, and she gave me this book. It's called Roses Are Pink, Your Feet Really Stink. And it's by Diane DeGroat. And I read it and I thought it was a really cute story, so I'd like to share it with you. And then, of course, do some kind of interesting Valentine cooking project. When I looked at the front cover of this book, I immediately started to think about what kind of genre is this? Do you think it's fiction? Do you think it's nonfiction? I mean, a clue that I can give you right now is that the animals in the story are going to be talking. So right then and there, I think a lot of you are already thinking, what? Yes, fiction, right? It's make-believe. Animals are talking. But it's still a really cute story. And when I listen to it and when I think about it, I think a lot of you will be able to make some connections to this story. Either because you're going to connect with the main character and how he is behaving, or you may actually connect with some of the other characters in the story as to what is happening to them. So I want you to enjoy the story, and then when we're done, I'll ask you a couple quick questions to see if we can get your minds thinking. So sit back and relax and enjoy the story called Roses Are Pink. Your feet really stink. That's rhyming, isn't it? But there's going to be some rhyming in this book by Diane DeGroat. All right, let me see if I can come close so you could see the pictures. There were 15 blank Valentine cards waiting to be filled with nice Valentine poems. They were sitting on a table in the pile as high as Gilbert's nose. So Gilbert is our main character. Mrs. Bird, that's the teacher, had told them to write something nice for each classmate because Valentine's Day was about liking each other. Gilbert liked Patty a lot. She had smiley eyes and a silly laugh that made Gilbert feel silly too. So he picked out the biggest card and he wrote inside, "Roses are red, violets are blue, your eyes are nice, and I like you. Gilbert." There he is working on his Valentine cards. I'm sure you all did that already because I've seen them in the back of the classroom waiting in bags. Gilbert also liked Frank. Frank let Gilbert use his baseball mitt once when Gilbert forgot to bring his own. On Frank's card he wrote, "Your name is Frank, it isn't Hank, you lent me your mitt, so I say thank. Gilbert." That's fun, Gilbert thought, and he continued to write really nice Valentine poems until there were 2 cards left. One for Louis and one for Margaret. Well, Gilbert didn't want to write a nice poem for Louis because Louis once tweaked his nose like that, and it made it kind of red. He didn't want to write a nice poem for Margaret either because Margaret had made fun of Gilbert's glasses. So, he didn't write any nice poems. On Louis's card, Gilbert wrote, "Violets are blue, roses are pink, your feet are big, and they really stink." Gilbert thought the poem was funny, but maybe Louis wouldn't. Maybe he would tweak Gilbert's nose when he read it. Gilbert didn't want Louis to come and tweak his nose again, so he didn't sign his name. He signed it Margaret. And on Margaret's card he wrote, "Roses are red, you wet your bed, I think that you have rocks in your head." And Gilbert liked that poem too, but he wasn't so sure Margaret would. He didn't want Margaret to say mean things about him again, so guess what he did? He signed the card Louis. So he is not taking responsibility for these mean cards that he wrote. On Valentine's Day, Gilbert walked to school with 15 cards and a tin of Valentine cookies that his mother had baked for their party. Mrs. Bird let everyone open their cards, and one of Gilbert's cards had X's all over the envelope, so he opened it first because he knew it was from someone who liked him. And it said, "Roses are red, violets are blue. You are my friend and I like you." It was signed Patty. Gilbert smiled at Patty, and Patty giggled back. So that was a nice one. And then Gilbert opened the rest of his cards, and they were all very friendly. Even Louis had written a poem for him. "You may be small, you're not very tall, but I like the way that you play ball. Louis." And Gilbert was happy that Louis liked the way he played ball, and Margaret wrote, "Sometimes you are very sweet. I hope you brought nice cookies to eat. Love, Margaret." Gilbert smiled to himself, and Margaret thought that he was very sweet. He looked over at Margaret, but she wasn't happy with one of the Valentines that she had opened. Look at her face. It's probably the one from Gilbert. She stuck her tongue out at Louis, and Louis wasn't happy with one of his Valentines either. And he stuck his tongue out at Margaret. And Margaret then pushed Louis, and Louis called Margaret a really bad name, and then Mrs. Bird got angry, and she said, "Quiet, please. Valentine's Day is about liking each other. It is not about fighting." And she made the whole entire class do workbook pages for the rest of the morning. And everyone was so mad at Louis and Margaret for behaving that way. Even Gilbert. And he was the one who started it. When it was reading time, Margaret looked through all of her Valentines again and said, "You know, I have 2 Valentines from Louis, a good one and a bad one." And Louis said, "I didn't write a bad one. Someone else wrote my name and signed it." He looked through his own pile of cards and he said, "You know what? I have 2 Valentines from Margaret and none from Gilbert." And then he shouted, "Oh no." Do you know what? Gilbert wrote both of the bad cards and he signed our names. And Mrs. Bird said, "Quiet, please." So they figured it out. That wasn't very nice of Gilbert. At lunch, nobody wanted to sit next to Gilbert because they all knew what he did. Not even Patty, his friend. He had to sit all by himself. And when he peeked over his carrot and banana sandwich, he could see Patty and Louis giggling and having a good time at their table. There he is eating all by himself. Well, you know, serves him right. Gilbert wondered if Louis thought Patty had smiley eyes and a silly laugh too. And he saw Margaret eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich like she did every single day. And Gilbert liked peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and he wished that he was eating one too. Look at that, he isolated himself. At recess, nobody played with Gilbert. And Gilbert was very sorry that he had written 2 very mean and very nasty Valentines. I'm thinking of a word right now that maybe you've all had this feeling before. I think he's feeling something called regret. Have you heard that word? Like you're sorry you actually did it and you wish you could take it back? That's called regret. You regret doing something. When they all lined up to go inside, Patty finally asked, "Why did you write those bad things about your friends, Gilbert?" "Because Louis tweaked my nose," Gilbert said, "and Margaret had made fun of my glasses one time." And Louis said, "You know, I'm really sorry I tweaked your nose, Gilbert. You can tweak mine back if you want." And Gilbert gave Louis's nose a little tweak, but it didn't turn red. And Margaret said, "I'm really, really sorry I made fun of your glasses, Gilbert. I'll wear them for you for the rest of the day if you want." And she then put on Gilbert's glasses, but she couldn't see with them on, and Gilbert couldn't see with them off, so she ended up giving them back. She was going to wear them, though, so that maybe people could look at her wearing those glasses. It was kind of nice. In art class, Gilbert decided that he needed to figure out how to become friends again. So he made 2 new Valentines out of red paper and lace. So he's feeling regret, and he's thinking, I need to fix this. So during spelling time, Gilbert decided to write a new poem for Louis. He wrote, "Violets are blue and roses are pink. I'm sorry I said that your feet really stink." And then Gilbert thought of something nice about Margaret. He liked the way she always smelled like peanut butter and jelly. So he wrote a poem for her that said, "Roses are red, jelly is sweet, you smell as good as the sandwich you eat." And then in math, Gilbert figured out that there were only 364 days before he would ever have to write another Valentine. And that's because there's 365 days in a year. So he has to go 364 more days before it becomes Valentine's again. But it looks like everyone's becoming friends again. Finally, it was time for the party. And Gilbert gave the new card to Louis and Margaret, and he passed out the cookies that his mom had baked. Look at everybody having a good time at the Valentine party. And they're all friends again. And on each cookie, it said, "Happy Valentine's Day." Wasn't that a great story? Roses are red. Roses are pink. Your feet really stink. If you like that story, you can borrow this from the Anna Reynolds Library sometime. Or you could order it on Amazon and get it yourself and give it a try reading. I was thinking, how many of you have ever done something maybe Gilbert did? You know, maybe not treated somebody really nicely and had a little bit of regret about it. I'm sure we've all done that in our lives. And then maybe some of you were actually more like his friends, where somebody did something mean to them. But I really like how they all figured out how to become friends in the end. That was a great story. Now, I bet you're thinking, oh, easy. I know what cooking activity Mrs. Gagliardi's going to do. She's going to show us how to make cookies for Valentine's Day, right? Well, I've done that so many times before, so I wanted to share some other Valentine recipes with you. Unfortunately, I have so many that it was hard for me to narrow them down, but I wanted to think of 2 things that maybe you guys could do before Sunday. You have the whole rest of this week to get the ingredients, and then you have Saturday to maybe try it out, and maybe even Sunday to make it for your family. You don't always have to make a card to wish someone a happy Valentine's Day. You can cook for them to show them that you care about them, and you know that's something I do all the time. So I want to show you 2 things. One is maybe you'd like to make Pop Tarts for breakfast for Valentine's Day. And I'm going to show you how to make your very own Pop Tarts. Remember we used the bought ones when we made that Pop Tart house for Christmas time? Well, this time we're going to make our own Pop Tarts. But then I also have a delicious ice cream treat that has a little bit of a Valentine twist to it because the sauce is not hot fudge. It's made out of red raspberries, and it's so good. So let me start by making the sauce for the peach Melba. That's what it's called. It's called peach Melba. So after you have a nice Valentine's lunch or a nice Valentine's dinner, this would be a great dessert. By the way, I know how to make pink macaroni and cheese, which I've made on Valentine's Day, and I may show you that sometime. And I also know how to make a delicious salad with cranberry sauce. So I might eat that first, and then I might make this peach Melba. Are you ready? Let me show you what you need. First, you need raspberries. Now, you can buy the fresh raspberries. Those are them right there, okay? You can buy fresh ones. Or what's easier right now is to buy frozen ones. So let me grab a bag of frozen raspberries. Here they are. I always keep these in my freezer because I make a lot of smoothies. And whenever I want to make smoothies, I like to use frozen fruit because it keeps the smoothie cold. So I'm going to start with a 12-ounce bag of red raspberries, okay, out of the freezer. Now, there's really not a perfect recipe for this because it depends on how much raspberry sauce you want to make. So the first thing you're going to do is, when I get my new kitchen, I'm going to have a camera over by my stove, and then we'll actually be able to cook and then see me. But to move all this right now would be a problem. So I'm just going to kind of show you what to do. So I already started a package in here now. Okay. So you take the red raspberries and you put them in a pan over medium heat, and you just start cooking them until they just mush down. And I'm going to show you what that's going to look like, okay? You just cook them for maybe 5 minutes on medium heat. You might need a grown-up to do that, okay? And then they're going to cook down, and they're not going to be hard anymore. They're just going to kind of be like cooked raspberry sauce, okay? So to that package of frozen raspberries that I've cooked for about 5 minutes until it just becomes all mushy, okay? And it looks kind of like that, okay? You want it to look like that. Then I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of sugar into the bowl. Ready? 1. Let me see if I move this down. There you go, okay? 2, 3. Now, if you like it sweeter, you add more sugar. If you want it less sweet, you add less. If you're watching your sugar and you don't want too much sugar, you can use something called truvia or stevia. There it is, okay? I would use 3 packages of that. Let me see if I can get this not to be shiny. There it is, okay? 3 packages of that, or 3 teaspoons of that, because that's a little sweeter than sugar. And you're gonna cook that on the stove for about 3 minutes till it cooks down and it gets very watery, okay? So then it's gonna start to look like this, okay? It's gonna be really watery. So then you're going to add something called cornstarch, okay? And you're only going to need about, I'd say, a half a teaspoon to a teaspoon. And you're gonna add that in. Maybe because this is a 12-ounce bag, I might use a whole teaspoon. And what happens is, as you cook this out over the stove over low to medium heat, a total of 5 to 7 to 8 minutes until it starts to boil. As it starts to boil, it's going to thicken, all right? Once it does that, you get to just remove it right off the stove. Your raspberry sauce is done. It's that simple, okay? Now I'm gonna show you one that I already made. So here it's like, it didn't get to cook down yet, so it's still a little bit of runny, but I already made one. Here it is. I'm gonna show you the difference, okay? Once it's all cooked down, it gets thicker. See how, look, it's even steaming because I just made this one. So it's like, see it right there? Nice and thick. You want this raspberry sauce to be warm, okay? Let me move that, sorry. You want this raspberry sauce to be warm when you put it over your ice cream. Okay, so that's the most important part. So you need the raspberry sauce, and this is the part that reminds me of Valentine's Day, because it's red, right? Okay, so watch what we're going to do. Simple, simple. After you make your raspberry sauce, so you had a 12-ounce bag of frozen raspberries, 3 tablespoons of sugar or truvia, whatever you want to use, 1 teaspoon of cornstarch, cooked down till it got nice and thick. Take it off the heat, keep it warm, okay? Then what you're going to do is you're going to take a can of peaches. Now, you could use a huge can or a small can. I'm just opening a small can because I don't have a lot of people here, but it depends on how many you want to make, all right? You're going to take, you could buy diced peaches or you could buy whole peaches and you could dice them yourself, all right? So you're gonna shake off the juice, and I usually take a plate with a paper towel and I stick it on the plate and then I dry it, okay? I dry it off good. Oh, it's getting glared. I'm trying to not get you the glare there. Okay, sorry about that, all right? And then you just get a butter knife or any knife you want, and I just cut it into pieces. I like to cut it, I call dice it. It's like cutting it into little cubes. That's all, okay? No certain amount, however many you want, and they should look about like that, okay? So you've got the raspberry sauce, you've got the peaches. And now you get a pretty glass. So I'm gonna use this one. It would be great if the bottom was red, but unfortunately, in my old kitchen, I had some blue, so these were left over from my old kitchen. It'll still be pretty, but you want the thing you serve it in to be clear glass so you could see through it, because part of the eating it is to see how pretty it looks. I like to use frozen vanilla yogurt. Okay, you can use vanilla ice cream, you could use strawberry ice cream, you can use raspberry ice cream, you can use whatever you like. But for me, The sauce and the peaches are really the most important part of this dessert, and I feel like vanilla ice cream goes best with it. So I'm gonna grab my frozen vanilla yogurt because I'm always trying to keep it healthy, right? It's a dessert, but it's going to be delicious. So I bought this Hood fat-free frozen vanilla yogurt. Okay, come on, open Mrs. Gagliardi. Whew. In my old age, I'm getting very old. Okay, so then I take my scoop. It's all about building this now to make it look pretty. So you've had your nice dinner, you've had a nice salad, maybe you've had some pasta or some chicken or whatever. Now you make as many scoops as you want. This time, let's put 2, okay? Depends who you're making it for. All right, so here we go. Look at this. Yum, yum. All right, so I've got the frozen vanilla yogurt, and right there, that's only about 100 calories, so that's not really bad, okay? And if I had used this truvia or the stevia instead of the sugar, the raspberries are only about 150 calories total, not even, okay, in the whole bag. So now I'm gonna take this beautiful warm raspberry sauce, and it's still steaming a little bit. Can you see that? And I'm gonna spoon that right over. Oh my goodness. Let's see, am I moving this back so you could see it? Sorry, my camera skills are terrible. Okay, there we go, right? And then I'm gonna pull some peaches. I'm gonna throw them on. OMG, this is going to be so delicious. And if you're someone that likes whipped cream, okay, or you're not allergic to whipped cream, this is the part that's gonna make it the best. Okay, now you go with your whipped cream. You could go with some sprinkles. You could go with some pink sugar if you, okay, you could do a little sprinkles on top. Or you could add your pink ones for Valentine's Day. And then I even like to add just a little more sauce right to the top. Look at that. Oh my gosh, look at this. And then you have to take a bite. You gotta try to get everything all together. You want the whipped cream, the peaches, the raspberries, all that warmness with that little bit of cold vanilla ice cream. Are you ready? Oh my God, this is so good. It's so good. I'm actually eating this before dinner because it's like 4 o'clock. It's a good afternoon snack though, right? Oh, it's yogurt and fruit, but doesn't it look Valentine's, like Valentine's Day? Look. The warm raspberry sauce, the warm raspberry sauce with the cold frozen yogurt is the absolute best. Now, if you really want to make it super special, you could take a homemade Pop Tart. Look what I have here. I made it into a heart shape. And you could stick that right on top. And there you go. You've got a homemade Pop Tart, frozen yogurt, raspberry sauce, and peaches and cream. And you could wish someone a happy Valentine's Day. Now wait, I can make a poem like they did in the story. You ready? Peach Melba is pretty and so very sweet. I made it for you. I bet you can't wait to eat. Happy Valentine's Day, right? Wouldn't that be a great way to wish someone a happy Valentine's Day? I think that would be awesome. And I did a poem just like they did in the book. All right, because it's Valentine's Day, I'm going to give you 2 treats with this Books and Cooks. So after you do your peach Melba, that could be one dessert, or maybe in the morning, you're going to have the Pop Tarts, and then you're gonna serve them with the peach Melba later. This is gonna be so easy. Are you ready? Let me move all this aside. This is a double treat, Books and Cooks, all right? Hang with me. If you have to go now, you could pause it, go do some work, go do some reading, and come back and watch the second recipe later if you want to. But let me show you what you can do now for the next recipe. All right, let me move this up. Let me just move this down. All right, so the next recipe is super simple. All you need is, I'm gonna do raspberry again, but if you wanna do strawberry, you can. Some raspberry jam or some strawberry jam. And some, refrigerated pie crust. I'm gonna grab that. Right here. Sorry, I had to leave my thing. It's best to keep it cold, so I had it in the refrigerator, okay? So this is another super easy one. So buy any kind of pie crust, any brand. It comes with 2 of these, obviously the bottom of the pie and the top of the pie. You're gonna take it out, all right? And it looks like this. And then you unroll it, okay? It's gonna make a circle, because if you were making a pie, right? You'd put this in the bottom of a pie crust plate or a pie plate, then you put your filling in, and then you put that other one that's in there on the top, and then you crimp the edges together and you bake it. Okay, but I'm gonna use this dough so I don't have to make it myself for the actual Pop Tart. Ready? So I'm gonna put it on the, let me see. I'm gonna grab something to make this easier. Hold on. Let's do this. I'm gonna put this here. This way you could maybe see it. Let me move this down a little. All right, there. So, okay, ready? So I'm not even going to roll this out. I'm just leaving it just as is. And then I'm going to take a cookie cutter. Because it's Valentine's Day, I might want to use a heart-shaped cookie cutter, right? Or if I wanted to make it like, here's a real Pop Tart, right? I might want to use either a rectangle or maybe even a square. I could do either one. So let me show you. So I've done a square one already. This is if I use the square one, okay? I don't have any frosting on it yet. It's already cooked. And this is if I decided to do the heart-shaped one. No frosting yet, okay? So what you do is you take your cookie cutter and you just press down into the dough. That's it. It's that simple, okay? But you need 2 for your Pop-Tart. All right, so I'm doing hearts because it's Valentine's Day, all right? You could do any shape you want. And then when you're left with this part, after you cut out as many as you can, you roll it out and you reuse it until you use all of the dough, okay? So you've got your 2 pieces, right? Now you get your jelly. There we go. Here's my fork. Every time I do this, I'm missing something, Mrs. Gagliardi. And I'm gonna have to, I got it, okay. This is the tricky part. Don't put too much, okay? So if the bigger you make it, the easier this will be. But since I have just a tiny heart, remember your hands are washed, right? You already washed your hands. Because hands are really the best tools in the kitchen, but they have to be clean. See how I did that? Don't put too much, because it leaks out the side and then it makes it hard to get off the tray, right? And then you lightly put the top on, and then you just press with your fingers, lightly, okay, like that. Doesn't matter what shape, it doesn't matter what size. Do you see how I just pressed that down lightly? Okay, then you take your fork, because you want it to look like a Pop-Tart, right? And you're gonna crimp the edges. Don't go all the way through. I'll show you when I come up, I'll put it right to the camera. I'm just crimping the edges, okay? This is so simple. You can make your own dough. There's recipes to do it, but why bother? Oop, let's see, how am I gonna do? There you go. See it? It's crimped. Then I make one at a time. Then you take it off and you put it on a tray. You could use parchment paper or foil, and I would bake it at about 375 until it's lightly browned. And here's a few that I already made, okay? Right here. Now, if you roll it too thin, I did that because I wanted to get more out of it, you'll end up seeing your jelly through it. If you keep it nice and thick, like that one that I just made right here, when you cook it, it stays more like this. Okay, this one's cooked. And I cook it so that it's about, looks like that, all right? Let's see, is that good? Not too, looks shiny to me. There you go, okay? I don't like anything to be dark brown. Then you take, once it's cooled, you take some confectioner's sugar, which is this white powdered sugar, and then you mix it with a little tiny bit of water until it makes like a paste. It's gonna look like glue almost, okay? And then once it is cooked, and it doesn't matter which shape you made, and your hands are clean, always clean hands. I still feel like my hands are the best tool. I then just spread it around. You might have to wash your hands again after you did it. Always don't be touching your mouth or your nose or any of that, okay? And then you get yourself some sprinkles. I'm gonna use these just because it looks a little like a Pop Tart to me. There you go. And you have your homemade Pop Tarts. These stay well in the refrigerator for weeks. Then you grab them for breakfast in the morning or a quick snack for school or something like that. So here's a couple I already did. You ready? Then you bag them up because you know you want to give them away as a friend to a friend as a gift. Here's one of the flat ones. And here's one of the heart ones right there. And of course, I wrote a poem. Are you ready for this one? It says, Pop Tarts are sweet. Oh yes, it's true. Here's one for you, friend. Because I like you. Happy Valentine's Day. And then I signed my name. So instead of giving a card, I might give that out to some of my closer friends or family in my neighborhood. Those would be fun to make too. You could make those on Saturday, stick them aside, bag them up, and you've got them for a week. They even go great in the freezer. And by the way, after you cut all of them out and you're gonna have like little bits of dough left, you can put the dough into a ball, roll it out with a little bit of a rolling pin, and then when I couldn't get any more cutouts, I didn't want to waste anything, so I just took the last piece of dough and I just rolled it over and I made it more like a crescent moon. Like I wasted nothing. I used every bit of that dough and I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Here's another one that I had made before. I'm gonna be bagging up. I got about 10 out of it because I didn't make them too big. So you've got Pop Tarts for breakfast. You've got the peach melba. Look what happens though. If you don't eat it right away, it's going to melt because of that warm raspberry sauce, but it's still good. I'm gonna take another bite. And you could put the two together if you want. How's that for Valentine's Day? So I want to wish you all a very happy Valentine's Day this Sunday. You have the whole weekend to work on these projects. The recipes, we'll try to put them at the end. I might be able to get some help from Mrs. Rodriguez's son. He knows how to edit things. Maybe he can edit in my recipes at the end. And if not, just watch how I did it and go back and get the recipes. You need the raspberries, you need some ice cream, you need some jelly, and you need a little bit of pie crust. It's really not that bad. Until next time, what do I always say? Happy reading and happy cooking. Bye, guys.